Why, oh, why, Delilah, da la 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 la, my, oh, my, Delilah. Well, why, oh, why, indeed. Someone's asked, and I feel duty bound to help.
Wait. Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. If this is your first time here, I am the big fella. That is the Scruffy Trader. And what I'm trying to do is put trading in the real world. Maybe show you a trick or two along the way. So if that sounds good, do take a second to hit that little subscribe button. Genuinely helps. And if you do find value, smash the like and the super thanks. Keeps the lights on and keeps the channel on air. So what are we looking at today? Well, today is going to be a bit of a sticker because it's not a market I particularly want to trade. The markets are very odd at the moment. And sometimes when they're odd, you've got to think a little bit outside the box. And that means putting your thinking cap on and understanding it. It's a little bit like what I was doing yesterday with euro dollar. Now, following on from that conversation, if I just flick this over, I did the analysis video for you guys, sort of like the glossary of sort of what I put on this channel. And yes, guys, Winky's got a mug range out now. Do support her. And it's pretty much free delivery unless you're in the darkest part of the planet. But if you're in America, Europe, it's free delivery, etc. And get yourself a good mug. Anyway, down here, Exchequer Investments has asked me if I would analyze cable. Okay, and I am more than happy. I can't tell you whether you should trade it or not. I really can't. That's your own decision, my friend. But I'm happy to break the chart down and have a look at it for you. Okay. So let's have a little look and see what it is that we are thinking about. Now, if you're part of the Discord, the Scruffy Squad, I have done a full analysis of this from the top to the bottom, all the indicators, the how and the why, because this one is a real hard market to trade today. So there's lots of things that has to be taken into account. And trust me, X does not mark the spot. Okay. So it's all there for them. The trade that I did yesterday is here already for them. And it just works through constantly. Okay. So what we are going to do now is I'm going to break this down so you can see it in real time. And if there's a trade presents itself, I will trade it as well. All right. So the first thing I would ever do when I'm going to break down a chart is I'm looking to see what the big picture is. I want to see where the movers and the shakers are. Well, on the daily, the first thing that catches my eye is this. All right. Now that is a vicious downtrend, but it's also having a decent pullback. Okay. Which is here. Now, my initial thoughts when I do my calculations, and I did this at 10 o'clock, and I'm pretty much ready to kind of do it again, is a buy, but it's risky. All right. Now that might actually swap to a sell. Why? Because that's quite sustained as well. And sometimes there has to be pressure releases like here. Right? Now, what else can we see in this? Well, if we also come back on itself, we can see the whole market is moving down. And it's actually in uncharted territory because it's never been here for 30 years. All right. It's like all-time lows. But we do have a cluster here. Now, that's quite an interesting cluster because that's telling you pressure stopped. People started finding value. But this is daily, takes time to play out. All right. So my overall view is there's a reasonable assumption this could put, this can pull up. Now, if you drop a fib on this, just so you can kind of illustrate it, you can see it's just touching the 38 and the 50 is up here, which lines up with that plateau there, which lines up with this base. So the fib is a good tool if you're using it as a measuring instrument. So that's telling me it's kind of pushing up because the 50 is a pivot. Right, what's going on with the 4 hourly? You can see the move down. See, it's double bottomed here and it's pushing up. Now it's already had a push to the upper side and it's coming down, and I can see a cluster on this level. So that's giving me a value point here. But this is what catches my eye, where it gapped up on Sunday night. Now, if I come down into an anchor chart, now I've already started mapping this up. There is that gap. Markets look to fill gaps. They always do. So I'm in two minds here. And what I've done is I've zoned this out so I can see what's going on. And my theory is this is my battle area. And I'm going to do something that I don't do very often, which is look for two directions. All right. Normally I like to just be one. So I'll pick a direction and that's all I'm sticking with. But once I'm committed to the direction, I'll stay with it. But at the moment I am looking at this as market neutral on this here. So my plan is if it stays on this side, moving up, so I want to see it come into here and then return to move to that red zone. If it breaks this dotted line and goes to the bottom part of this and then breaks out of here, I'm looking for it to target the gap. So this is kind of my pivot. So I want to see it either come in, bounce, move that way, or I'm looking to see it break and then come down here. Now my overall gut feeling and of just generally looking at what's going on is it's coming here. All right. I think there's more room for it to push up, but my value area is down here. So I'm going to look at that over the course of the next 15 minutes or so, make a decision, but I'd say it's 70% going this way, 30% coming down, okay, at this moment in time. But that can change because I look at things at the top of each hour. But I'll leave the camera running so you can see it. And at this moment in time, my theory is to the upper side. Now, the way that I'll manage this is very simple. Okay. Now I can see an overextended candle here. It's failed to push higher, but it's come down in quite a lot of red. But if you're going to buy something, you want to buy it when it's most red. Likewise, if you want to sell something, you sell it when it's most green. In other words, you're waiting for the steam to run out of it. And that's what I'm waiting for here. So there's a lot of red. I can follow this down. And once I make a decision, I'm happy to stage backwards down into this green area. So I may sandwich the price like what I did yesterday, where I'll put an order above, one underneath, see which one triggers to be the first trigger point, and then move down. And I've done quite well. I did 300 yesterday. If I pull up my sort of gold account, because I've been in this today as well, I did 396 this morning. So I don't have a lot to do today in money terms. I just need to follow a process. So all I'm going to look for is 10 to 15 pips. Now within this, just to give you an idea of how far that is, we just pull that up. It's there. So anywhere from that point into here can pay me quite well. And if I'm holding it and being brave and I run it up there, 65 pips. So that's a 65 pip range to get 15 pips out of. It's not difficult, guys. It's all about maths and ratios. So let me run the trade. Do enjoy it. Do check out Winky's shop. She's very excited about it. There might be some bugs in it because it's new, but happy days. Happy days. Catch you soon. Okay, guys, I've done what I needed to do, and I've been watching it for a little while. It's turning 1 o'clock, and I've been at this since 6 this morning, so I'm kind of gonna just call it a day at this moment in time. What I was essentially looking for was to see if there was going to be some kind of a movement pulling back on itself quite violently. Now that didn't come, which is kind of this here. It's chugging around. Now I've got two choices. I can either wait for it to relax, or I can wait for it to break this. But as I said at the start of this, I was really unsure about the trade, and it was one of those that it could tip either way. My preference was to the long side, which is kind of why I committed into it, and it's paid me. And it's paid me, well, it's done more than 50 quid, so it's done its 10, 15 pips what it was after. But what I also did was I looked to ratchet the stop once I'd taken some money off, just to see if it would keep on going. And if it did, brilliant. And if it didn't, well, then it didn't. That was the mindset behind it. Okay. Now, when we are looking to be traders, there are two mindsets. You have the trading mindset and you've got the gambling mindset. Now, for those who sit in the gambling camp, what you're doing there is you're doing nothing more than flicking a coin. And you're looking at the market with an uninformed idea of what you're doing. And you can reset as many times as you like. You'll still be gambling until you actually know what you're doing. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're in the trader camp, you'll analyze the product, you'll understand what's going on in the market, and you'll enter when you feel safe. Whereas a gambler will just jump in. All right. So what was this? Well, this sat in the trading camp because I analyzed it fully. I knew exactly where the pain thresholds were. I knew exactly roughly where the target points are from conservative to upper target. And then I managed the trade. In other words, as soon as it got to a certain level, I made certain it was risk-free, ratcheted the stop to get a little bit extra. And then when it's closed, as it has now, it's come and stopped me out. I have to make a choice. And that choice is, do I re-enter the markets or do I just walk away? I'm walking away. Why? Because the best choice for this chart. Now, one of my rules is I only trade twice a day. You've seen I've done the gold. I don't need to do this one. Have I got enough money? I've banked enough today to pay me, so I don't need to go back to the market. If you're constantly going back to the markets, what you're doing is over trading and you're gambling. It's that simple, guys. So there we are. Just my thoughts today. So that was the breakdown of pound US. I hope this is what you were after, my friend. And if you keep asking me to trade a certain asset or break down a certain asset, I'll quite happily do that, have a look at it and go through it. But sometimes I won't even trade it, because looking at an asset, breaking it down, funnels to that decision that I said. You know, are you going to sit in a trader camp or a gambling camp? A trader can also make a decision not to trade. A gambler won't. They will trade it. Different ways of looking at things, my friends. So, as always, I'm easy found. Drop down in the description. There's loads of links there. If you want to come along to the Discord, the links for that's there. If you don't want to be part of the Scruffy Squad, I did set up a Telegram that's free, where you can talk amongst yourselves without morons being idiots. No sellers are allowed. There's no bots in there. And if you go in and you're arrogant and you're just belittling people, you're out. So it's a nice, peaceful way to talk. Okay. And check Joanne's shop out. She's so excited about it. It's unreal. Anyway, trade well. Keep your risk managed. Above all, do what you love. And the money will follow. See you all in the next one.